In the spirit of fairness and even-handedness, two Scotsmen are about to take on an Englishman for his opinion on the quality of the No campaign. So Phil, what do you think this week? Do you think they succeeded?
The No campaign, definitely not. I think they succeeded very well in tying themselves up in knots, because the No campaign's report is, yeah, it's quite good actually.
You must be getting an inside view because you're a Labour Party member. You know you must get all the goss.
No, it's not gossip really. I mean, it's, how would you put it? Because you do have Labour Party members that have no problem with independence. There's people that just basically, they prefer to stay together, but they can live with independence. They'll just get on and accept the Democratic. You get people that actually froth at the mouth at the thought of it. It's a broad church, just the Labour Party. You also have quite a contingent, so particularly down south in the House of Commons, that are doing very well. In the last place they want to do is come back up here to...
Well, can I ask about the Ehrman issue? Because, you know, obviously for professional politicians that go to London, even one or two that don't, like Jack McConnell. Oh, he was in London.
Oh, yes, yeah, Lord McConnell.
But Ehrman seems to be the final goal of Scottish Labour politicians. Is that true?
On a lot of them, yeah, they're down there superannuated. You have a look, yeah, you know, and that pomposity, and you know, they're so full of themselves. There's quite a lot down there in the world. They're actually quite nice people.
Is there? Can you name a Scottish Labour MP that might be, you know, swithering about independence, or are they all rabid Britain unionists?
No, I think a lot of them would be. I think actually on Newsnight last night. There was Margot MacDonald, kind of with a smirk on her face when it turned around, and said that because Gordon Brewer had mentioned that all the Labour Party really need to get their voters together, and she says, well, actually quite a lot. She reckons quite a lot of the Labour voters will be voting for independence. She says she's quite sure that, she did say MPs, but then she changed her mind to MSPs would probably vote for independence, but they won't say anything about it. She said, yeah, there'd be quite a few, or words to that effect, but they won't say anything about it.
You won't name names?
Not really, because at the end they don't go around prophetising it, do they? Because they like being, no.
I'm not a Labour Party member, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you do get Labour Party members that don't have any problems with it.
Labour Party members aren't allowed to talk about anything but the party line.
Yeah.
So discussion-free zone.
Even though it's not party policy as such, because it's a democratic decision.
So when are Labour policies made these days? I remember there used to be an annual conference, people could make motions and oppose and support, and policy would be made there in the hall on the platform. Where is policy made nowadays?
Sorry, that's really old-fashioned. What, democracy? Don't be silly.
What, in the Labour Party?
No.
Red Clydeside was dead and buried before.
We're not talking, aren't we talking 20 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, even though the Labour government saw if it weren't, I mean, would just ignore it, but at least you had that pretence of going there, you know, and anybody could put up a motion at their branch, which would go to the constituency, would go to the regional party, which would end up going to national conference, and you could debate it. You had lots of it about with CND and nuclear, but then of course those governments that were in there, all these same people put in as MPs, then chose to ignore it because, well, when you get when you get a Labour government, you don't really get a Labour government. You get a British government. When you get a Tory government, you get a Tory government. They always look after their voters.
You're getting a bit soft on your fellow party members there.
No, I'm not. That's just because they become a British government. They actually forget what they were in there for. You've only got to look at the 13 years we had of a Labour government, and you could be forgiven for thinking, was that a Labour government?
A Tory government, you mean? Be specific.
Well, Tory Blair.
The guys in the Labour Party, do they talk about Darling's performance?
No, they don't really discuss, because most people you'll talk to as well, it's the same with the performances in the Scottish Parliament. While you might agree that they think they're all right.
Here's a man that's had basically everything he said about why we should stay together in the Union blown out the water. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the UK government, the Tory-led government, is taking the piss out of it.
Surely his colleagues at some point are going to turn around and say, this man's a liability.
Well, the last time Alistair Darling said something that was true, he got into a serious amount of trouble. When he was Chancellor, he said, this recession is going to be the longest and deepest, to immediately, that nice man from Fife, who happened to be the Prime Minister, started to get his apparatchiks out, and it was stabbing him to death all over the place. I think he just kind of says what everybody wants to hear now.
I mean, if you were looking for somebody to win a fight, Darling isn't your man, and never has been.
And he's the wrong person to put in charge of that. He just doesn't.
The only fight he's won is the one against Brown to stay Chancellor.
Yeah.
And Brown messed up there because he could have had him out the door just on the expenses stuff. You know.
Well, the expenses. I mean, everybody was kind of at it, weren't they?
Well, can I ask a slightly different question? Gordon Brown now is just a backbench ex-Prime Minister.
That turns up to do his job in the House of Commons now and again.
How much support do you think he's got amongst his fellow Labour Party members? I mean, he used to be the king of Labour in Scotland.
Not a lot. I wouldn't have thought. The only time I've seen him animated lately was a couple of months ago, and I thought it was so sad. He just doesn't learn. And he was standing, looking like somebody not quite a full shine, ringing a bell to open up the day's business at the stock exchange in New York. And I thought, man.
He was in Wall Street?
Yeah, he was standing there, grinning, ringing the bell, look at me, like the Ben that's been allowed to ring the bell on the track.
He seems to have done a foot shop this week. He's been actually had a slightly higher profile in Fife because there's a Rempli disabled factory being shut down on his constituency, and he's save my Rempli factory. Excuse me, I believe he started and made change the legislation which now allows these disabled factories to be shut down. Have these people no shame?
Probably not, no. A lot of the time
would any of them survive? I mean, there must be part of the Labour Party who's saying to themselves, Scotland gets independence, we're going to have an A-team to put up against the SNP in 2016. Will any of these people survive to be part of that team?
I think it's horrifying if anybody that was in the last Labour government, the people that were all implicated in illegal wars and everything else, got anywhere near a government.
Is anybody in the Scottish Labour Party seriously thinking about 2016?
No, not really, because there's not going to be a yes vote. It's as simple as that. It's not going to be a yes vote.
They still have to think about 2016.
Of course, you always have to have a contingency plan just in case.
Well, educated people, reasonable people, always have a plan B, whether it's for your family finances, walking down the street and there's a scary man threatening you. You know, everybody's got a plan B. It's irrational.
I think that was Labour Party policy on the plan B then.
Plan B, probably. Then they'll have.
They must have a plan, but they just won't talk about it.
No, they'll have 18 months between the vote, one way or another, as to what they'll do in 2016. It's like most politicians, you know. Oh dear, what's that? It's a cliff. Oh.
Well, one question. Oh, sorry.
Well, you've got to be thinking that the SNP have got their plan B. Mm-hmm. And their plan B is going to involve going up against you for Westminster as well in 2015. And that's going to be interesting.
Well, it is, and particularly as the
welfare cuts.
Well, as the welfare cuts. I mean, again, we still have a very tiny minority of these welfare cuts are hitting. I mean, there's people in poverty now that are going to get kicked right in the head even more when they won't be able to downsize in their houses, and their benefits are going to get, and they'll want to see. And actually, on yesterday's Scottish questions in Westminster, some of our representatives there
looked like Labour Party members for a minute.
Oh no, they were doing their job. But the Labour Party is full of really good people. The whole point is there's some kind of psychosis in there when it actually comes to they have to remain part. They don't seem to look at outside the box. I mean, I'm a member of the Labour Party principally because it's the best of the bad bunch. As they say, democracy's crap, but it's the best system we've got. We also appear to have lost our way.
I mean, I'm not a member of the SNP, but I would argue that the most democratic-looking party in Scotland at the moment is the SNP.
Quite probably on a perception basis, yeah.
Well,
probably even on a realistic basis.
But Phil, here's another one. I mean, I've made this comment twice this week, but it's not a surprising comment. 10 years ago, young, ambitious students in Scotland, a lot of them joined the Labour Party. Nowadays, it's damned obvious when they now join the SNP. They see the future. It's the SNP, not the Labour Party.
Yes, the Labour Party, a lot of it's its own fault. There's been complacency as well, particularly when you get through to the west coast, where for 70 years, Glasgow, places like that, it's Labour, Labour, Labour. Basically, it's like dynasties. They're all in there. It doesn't matter. You're that on. Whereas you had to fight for it a lot of time on the East Coast here. I always remember in '84, and '84 when they took Edinburgh City for the first time from the Tories. It was great, and the people that were in the council were brilliant. They all knew exactly what they were there for.
Look at the team you had.
Yeah.
Look where they ended up. They all ended up in Westminster. A lot of them as cabinet ministers.
Yeah, and Lords even. Yeah.
You know.
And not.
And one or two that have stayed true to the principle. Dennis Callanan was in that lot, was he not?
Callanan wasn't in there.
I think you'll find he was.
Wasn't in Edinburgh Council.
I think you'll find he was.
But, well, you had Fuchsie, you had Cricket, you had lots, yeah. But so that's the difference in those days, in that whole way. Councillors tended to come from the trade union movement, so they had a lot of experience, you know, working through trade unions, working with the community, working in industry, so they had a bit of a depth and breadth of knowledge, and they became councillors, and that's where you became MPs. You had a bit of a grounding in the movement, as it was then, in the Labour movement, and you were a lot more so. Trade unions were part and parcel of that whole trade union movement now, and now they seem to became, just give us the money but go away, a bit of an embarrassment. Mitch Blair and that started, and now they're just at uni, that's it, they become a researcher, and when am I getting a seat? And they don't have anything, they're professional politicians.
We're getting, possibly getting to the end of this, but we need to know one thing I've noticed, and you may be able to enlighten me and the listeners and viewers. Labour went into power in Edinburgh, May last year.
Yeah.
There seemed to be almost, there's no dissent on Twitter or on social media from any of these councillors.
They're in a coalition.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
20 Labour, 18 SNP.
But they're not even being particularly, they don't take any extreme positions publicly on social media either.
Extreme positions in what way would you
Well, you can almost say the position, let's say Duncan Hutherthall, who is a Labour Party apparatchik here in Edinburgh, they seem to be leaving the opinions, the forceful opinions of the Labour position to non-elected councillors. Think, well, name me an elected councillor that's standing up for the current No campaign. An elected Labour councillor in Edinburgh that's standing up and talking about the No campaign.
If you're in a coalition and you have Labour and you have SNP, if you want that coalition to collapse, then, and you'll notice on both sides, it's not just, you aren't hearing any upfront
SNP
from the SNP against the No. The whole point is their first priority, Stuart, is running the city.
All right.
That's it. And they're also part and parcel, the party supreme when it comes to actually running campaigns. And the SNP, actually, just to remind you, the SNP aren't leading they're just part of the Yes campaign, are they not? Same way as Labour is just part of the No campaign.
Yeah, unfortunately, Darling's leading it. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you putting your head in the block there.
Oh, no problem. I mean,
Hope you enjoyed that.
It's called democracy.
Hope you enjoyed that. Catch you with the next one.